Hi guys, and welcome to another video. So the plan for today was originally just make a match review of the win yesterday, which was a fantastic win by the way, but of course Sunderland being the absolute circus that it is, SAFC being the circus that it is at the moment, of course there's a bit of drama to talk about, which I'm going to have to discuss first, and I kind of want to give you guys my opinion and my take on it. Of course, it might be totally different from your own. That's fine. We'll be respectful of each other's opinions. I just thought I'd give you mine and my thought process before straight away putting Pritchard's head on the chopping block. So, what am I talking about? 5-2 yesterday, strange timing. 5-2 yesterday, which is 5 minutes before the team lineup is about to be announced for the upcoming game against Stoke, a game in which already had a ton of pressure on the likes of Beal and the lads themselves because of everything that's been going on in recent days. There's of course a big high pressure, intense atmosphere at the moment around the club because everyone wanted Beal out, well they want Beal out and what have you. So 5 minutes before the lineup's about to be revealed, the club released a statement stating that Alex Pritchard has rejected the offer for a new contract and in turn has also withdrawn himself from the squad and refuses to play for the club and wants to leave with immediate effect. Essentially, to that degree, that is what's been said. Very brief, very vague, but that is that. So, what has happened here, right? Over the course of the summer, it was largely believed that the club were trying to push Alex Pritchard out the door. They didn't want him. They brought in the likes of Job, Bradley Dack, with the thought process that Pritch is going to go. Now, it didn't happen. Now, Pritch found himself on the bench or out of squads for a large portion of this season. The club clearly not in favour of Alex Pritchard. And then Dodds gets himself in charge after Mowbray loses his job and thinks, you know, Pritch is a good player, because he is a good player. And I've said, I think he's an integral cog. He has experience. He has this sort of direct running, this direct mentality that I really, really like. This attacking intent is technically very gifted, and he's just a cracking player. So, of course, then when Dodd starts playing him and he starts showing his worth, proving his worth, showing how good he is, he seems to be enjoying his football again. The club all of a sudden say, actually, you know, the fans are really starting to like him here, so we'll offer him a contract. However, it is reported that the contract is the exact same wage, but just a year added on, which for me is an insult in itself. That is an insult in itself. But Alex Pritchard has obviously said, you know, I think I've proved my worth here. So I'm going to reject your sort of reluctant token offer and I don't want it. Now, I think a lot more has gone on behind the scenes than simply he's rejected the offer and has said, I'm never playing for this club again. Okay? I refuse to believe that that is the case. 100%. I just can't see that being the case. The club were pressured into offering the man a contract because the fans were screaming for it, and they have given him a half-hearted, half-baked shit contract offer. However, I also understand the stance that a lot of people have had. A lot of fans have had the stance of, no, you should never ever refuse to play for the club. We're still paying you. No one's bigger than the club. And some have even likened him to Jack Rodwell. Now, I completely agree, and I've said countless times in many videos over the years, no one player is bigger than the club. Regardless of how technically gifted you are, regardless of how good you are at the game, no one is bigger than the club. However, I refuse to believe that it is a simple case of I'm refusing the contract and I'm also never playing for the club again. I think this lad has been heavily mistreated throughout, and that is the reason he's throwing his toys at the pram. However, I also don't think, again, like I keep on reiterating, I don't think it is as simple as he has just said, I'm not playing for the club again, I'm gone. Don't think that's the case at all, right? Because people are very quick already to name him another Rodwell, call him every name under the sun, he's a charlatan, he's this, that, the other, right? Now, since when was this club and the hierarchy the pinnacle of truth, the pinnacle of trust, right? In light of recent weeks, the way the club is being run, and recent months in some areas, the Red and White Army, the Sunderland supporters group, recently had a meeting with the club. the minutes that were published very clearly highlight that the club and the hierarchy are persistently and relentlessly filling us with false promises, completely ignoring any demands that the Red and White Army have asked of. And it's been simple things, by the way, nothing big, as little as customer service. And it's been shit on, and they go, thanks for bringing it to our attention, and they do fuck all about it, and they fill us with false promises. There's been a massive amount of neglect and a massive amount of mistrust built within the club over recent months. So why now, after a vague, oddly timed statement from the club, are so many fans holding them as the pinnacle of truth? And, oh, well, they've made a statement, so it's true. Pritchard, you're fucking Jack Rodwell. What? Come on, man. You're not that stupid, surely. And honestly, again, if it's your own opinion, it's your own opinion. I just think there's so much more to it than meets the eye. If it is, and it might well be a case if he has simply refused a contract, said, I'm not playing for the club again. And if that is the case, yeah, I don't agree with it. I think you're a dick. However, he's been heavily mistreated, and I think there's more to it than meets the eye. And that isn't me suggesting that they have, I'm not saying it as direct and clean cut as it's actually them that have said, right, we're withdrawing you from the squad. I think there's something there that it isn't solely on Alex Pritchard. And I think it's wild, and I think it's mad that so many haven't asked why this has happened, yet they're so quick to take the club's side, that this club that have shown us nothing but mistrust in large areas for such a long period now, and they've shown massive faults, yet they are now this beacon of trustworthiness. Do you know what I mean? I don't get it. I just don't get it at all, and I just refuse, and I won't, I won't be labelling Pritchard the next Jack Rodwell on the back of that. I'm just not going to put my eggs in one basket so quickly because the club have released a half-baked statement that was, again, very oddly timed. Well, it said that this all happened on a Friday. Why didn't you release a statement on Friday? Why is that? And why was Speakman saying in a recent interview, just the other day, saying that we've offered Pritch a new contract, he should be happy, or he is happy, and now this has happened? I'm sorry, I just don't buy it. I just don't buy it. I think it's just a lot more complex than some have made out. I just don't think it's anywhere near as simple as Alex Pritchard who's just down tools and said, fuck you. Don't think that's the case at all. I think there's so much more to it. Again, everyone can have their own opinion. I've seen that Nick Barnes, and I've only said in the last video actually, massively respect Nick Barnes, love his work, think he's brilliant. He actually did say on the radio yesterday that in the summer, it wasn't actually the club trying to force him out. It was actually him who wanted the move, but there wasn't a club that came in for him. Now, again, that may well be the case. It might not, because where does he get his sources from? The club. And what is the constant, source of mistrust? The club. Do you know what I mean? That's just, it's one of them. It's so easy to hear one side of the story, and when one side it's deafened because he can't give his side of the story. So all it is a case of I'm not jumping the gun because I've read a statement from the club who I personally, sadly, don't trust. That's my stance at the moment. Could be wrong. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of them. Of course, I'd be very interested to see what you guys think down below. I know some of you might be just as clear cut and black and white as, regardless of what's happened, you never say you don't play for the club. But again, do we know that that's what he said? They might have said, right, okay, well, we're going to get rid of you immediately. We're withdrawing you from the squad because you don't want to be here, clearly. We're going to put you in the shop window immediately. They could have easily done that. Not saying that that's happened, but it could have happened. We just don't know. So I'm just not going to be so quick to call him every name under the sun and put his head on the chopping block. That's it. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on it, guys. Now, the match review just becomes a tiny little note at the end of the video now, doesn't it? Because it was a brilliant 3-1 win. Brilliant 3-1 win. A lot of people said it's paper over the cracks. And to an extent and to a degree it probably was, because Stoke did have ample opportunities to put this game to bed. And it could have easily been 7-3 in Stoke's favour. However, that wasn't the case. What I did see as well, which granted it's easy to say after a win, but what I did see, and I'm not going to always keep things negative purely because it's Beal. When I see something good, I'm going to say it's good. I always have been like that. No one's going to bully me into saying otherwise. But what I did see, what I did quite like, a bit risky, however, and statistically this has been proved, there's such less backwards and sideways passes. Ekwa and Dhannoo were fantastic at keeping things on the front foot and moving forward at every given opportunity. They were absolutely phenomenal at that. Absolutely fantastic. Not at one point were either of them guilty of killing momentum, putting their foot on the ball, let's go backwards, even though we're on the break. Every time they got it, they wanted to make the forward through pass, do 1-2 triangles, and they were pushing forward. Although, of course, on the sort of flip side of that, it left us a little bit shy at the back, and they did have several clear-cut chances. Jun-Ho had a couple as well. Fantastic little player, by the way, for Stoke. They had plenty of opportunities that could have put the game to bed, but they just didn't take it. But going forward, we were clinical. Abdullah Bar had a phenomenal game. Clark as well. And this is what happens, when other players chip in when we're going forward. Burstow got his first goal for the club. It was absolute scramble, but he'll take it, which is good to see. When other players chip in, we look so much more dynamic. It wasn't just a case of give it to Jack Clark and see what happens. Abdullah Bar's getting involved. Joe was dropping deep and getting involved and getting forward as well. Ekwa and Neil, like I said, and I keep on saying in recent videos that Neil has so much more to have going forward, and they were driving forward, the pair of them. Abdullah Bar cutting in, and he wants the ball. When that happens, we are a side to be reckoned with. However, too often, players shy away within themselves, and then it's just a case of give it to Jack and everyone stands still and sees what happens. And then if that is the case, and Sunderland are having one of them days, Jack Clark, get 3 men on him, and he's a piece of piss to deal with. Like many players would be if you stick 3 or 4 men on him, and that's it. But it was good to see that. So good to see Ekwa get on the score sheet. He looked great, like I said. But yeah, a very good win. Does it paper over the craps? Craps? Fuck me, it's early. I've just finished work, man. Over the cracks, potentially. But if you can't enjoy your win, then what's the point? Do you know what I mean? 3-1. We'll take it as it comes. It's not like I'm sat here again wanting Beal to fail. I want any manager at Sunderland to succeed because in turn then my football club succeeds. However, my point of view was I just don't think he's the man to take us forward. I haven't thrown myself in this Beal out fiasco and just spouting it out at every given opportunity. However, I do of course understand that, and I don't think he's the man to take us forward. But if we're getting wins under him and he keeps on getting wins, you know what I mean? What do you want me to say? But there we go. Either way, what do you guys think of everything I've mentioned? I know I've had a bit of a ramble there. I just wanted to give you my thoughts on it. Let me know in the comments down below how you feel. And like the video. I appreciate the support of the channel recently so much. It really is so appreciated. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. Stay jammy.